The first question says work out 4 whole number 1 over 2 plus 2 whole number 2 over 3. So what we're going to do is first convert the mixed numbers into improper fractions. So to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction, we have to multiply the denominator with the whole number and add the result to the numerator, which means we'll do 4 times 2, which is 8, and 8 plus 1, which is 9. So 9 over 2 is the improper fraction for 4 whole number 1 over 2. And for 2 whole number 2 over 3, we multiply 3 and 2. It's going to be 2 times 3, and then add the result to 2, which is going to be 8. So 8 over 3. Next step is to see whether we have the same denominators or not. As you can see, the first fraction has a denominator of 2, and the second fraction has a denominator of 3. So we need to make the denominators same, which can be only be done by multiplying the second fraction by 2 and the first fraction by 3. So that is going to give us 27 over 6 plus 16 over 6. The reason why we multiplied both the numerator and denominator by 2 and by 3 in each of these fractions is because if you times 2 just in the denominator, you're breaking the balance of the entire equation. To maintain the balance of the entire equation, you have to do the exact same thing in the numerator as well. It's like a basic rule of maths. If you're doing something new to the equation, like if you're introducing a new term like on one side, then you have to introduce that same term on the left-hand side as well. Similarly, if you're multiplying the numerator by a new term, you have to multiply the denominator by the same term as well. Hence, both 8 and 3 get multiplied by 2, and both 9 and 2 get multiplied by 3. So now since the denominators are same, we can combine it as a single fraction and write 27 plus 16 in the numerator. When we add the 2, we get 43 over 6. Now this is an improper fraction, and it's always advised to give answer in proper fractions or mixed numbers, depending on what the situation is. So to convert this improper fraction into a mixed number, we divide 43 by 6. We know 6 sevens are 42. So 43 minus 42 is 1. So our whole number is going to be 7. This is going to be our numerator. And this is going to be our denominator. A quick tip to remember in case you get confused is that the denominator remains the same. What's changing is the numerator, and whole number is going to be the new term being introduced. So your answer is going to be 7 whole number 1 over 6. Then we have a quadratic equation, and they want us to solve x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. We begin with multiplying the coefficient of x squared with the constant. So 1 times 6 is going to be 6. Next step is to find factors of 6. Apart from 1 times 6, 3 times 2 is also considered as factors of 6. So now what we have to do is, once we've listed out all the possible factors, we have to choose that set of factors which when added or subtracted give us the middle term, which is 5 over here. So for that, what we're going to do is, if we add 1 and 6, we get 7. If we subtract them, we get 5, which is okay, what we need. But if we add 3 and 2, we also get 5. And subtracting the 2 gives us 1. So as you can see, we have two possible answers over here. Either we can use 6 and 1 or 3 and 2. So let's try both of them and see which one is the right one. So if we use 6 and 1 first, what we're going to do is we're going to replace the middle term, which is 5x, with plus 6 minus x. Everything else remains the same. What's changing is your middle term. Instead of 5x, we're rewriting it as 6x minus x. Now, next step is to factorize this equation. So to factorize, we do it by factor by grouping, which means we split the equation into two groups. We factor the first group separately and the second group separately. Between x squared and 6x, we have x common. So it's going to be x plus 6. And between x plus 6, we have negative 1 common. It's going to be x minus 6 over here. So as you can see, in the first bracket, we have x plus 6, and the second bracket, we have x minus 6. They're not the same, which means we cannot further fully factorize this. Our factorization for this equation stops over here if we use 6 and 1, which means this is not the right one. And we have to choose 3 and 2. So now if we try the entire thing with 3 and 2, x squared plus 3x plus 2x plus 6. As you can see, we replaced 5x with 3x plus 2x. So now again, we factor by grouping. X squared plus 3x is one group, and 2x plus 6 is the other group. So between x squared plus 3x, we have x common, so x plus 3. And between 2x plus 6, we have plus 2 common, x plus 3 again in the bracket. So as you can see, we have x plus 3 and x plus 3 in both the brackets, which means we can further factorize this by taking the x plus 3 common, and the other bracket will be left with x plus 2. Which shows that 3 and 2 were the correct factors for this equation, not 6 and 1. Now it says solve, which means we put x plus 3 equal to 0. Then we put x plus 2 equal to 0. And that gives us x equal to -3 and x equals to -2. These are your values of x for this quadratic equation. Then it says a lamp is on sale at 22.05 pounds. This is a 10% reduction of the normal price. What was the price of the lamp before the reduction? Which means that 22.05 is basically 90% of the normal price. Why is it 90% of the normal price? It's because this sale price is after a 10% reduction of the normal price. So which means it's 90%. So 22.05 equals to 90 over 100. Off is always replaced by multiplication, and I'm going to assume that the normal price is x. So we have to find the price of the lamp before the reduction, which is the normal price. So you know the 90 over 100 is 0.9. And then we do 22.05 divided by 0.9 to get the value of x. And that's going to give us 24.5. That is your price before the reduction. Then it says 50 grams of lead and 20 grams of tin are mixed to make an alloy. The density of lead is 11 grams per centimeter cube, and the density of tin is 7 grams per centimeter cube. Work out the volume of lead used in alloy. So what we're going to do is, density is 11 grams for lead, and the weight for lead is 50 grams. The mass for lead is 50 grams. So density equals to mass over volume. This is the formula for density. So we're going to put 11 equals to 50 over x. That's the volume. So x is going to be 50 over 11, which is going to give us 4.54 recurrent. That is your volume of the lead. Next question says, work out the volume of tin used in the alloy. So same formula, density equals to mass over volume. For tin, our density is 7, mass is 20 over volume. So that's going to be 20 over 7, and that's going to give us 2.86 centimeter cube. Now it says, what is the density of the alloy? For the density of the alloy, first we find the mass of the alloy. So mass of alloy is going to be 50 plus 20, which is 70 grams. Total volume is going to be 2.86 plus 4.54. And that's going to give us 7.4 centimeter cube. So density is going to be mass, which is 70 over volume, which is 7.4. And that's going to equal 9.54 grams per centimeter cube. That is the density of the alloy.